Hello Owls, it is Friday the 8th of January and it is time for the next instalment of our reading book, Witch Wars. So today we're going to be reading chapter 5, Pinching Never Works. Tiga was still pinching her arm as Fran ushered her into Linden House with Peggy. It's not real. You're in a shed with a slug and you've probably just hit your head. You're in a shed, you've hit your head. Slugs, Tiga mumbled, her eyes squeezed shut. When she opened one of them, she didn't see the shed or Miss Hex, just Fran, looking confused. You're really weird, said Fran, staring at Tiga. Tiga stopped pinching her arm and looked around the vast hallway in which she was standing. Linden House reminded her of a hotel that had eaten a really nice furniture shop. It's the grandest residence in all of Ritzy City, Fran said grandly. A marble staircase snaked up and up what seemed like about 100 floors, but it was probably only about 8. Whee! Peggy cried, racing through the door and into a room that was completely empty, but for a flowery, lopsided sofa. Careful, Peggy! Fran cried as she zoomed after her. Peggy spun around the room, splattering hair gunk everywhere, and then plonked herself down on the sofa. Tiga giggled as Peggy bounced up and down, waving her arms in the air, but she soon stopped giggling when the sofa flipped around and disappeared through the floor. When it flipped back again, Peggy wasn't sitting on it. She's a walking disaster, that one, Fran groaned, soaring over to the sofa. Climb on, Tiga. Tiga walked slowly towards the sofa, eyeing it suspiciously. She put one hand on it, then another. Oh, we don't have all day, Fran shouted, pushing Tiga into the seat. Unlike the room from which they'd just spun, the room into which they now spun couldn't have been more cluttered. There were stacks of chairs and books and at least 5 tables, and every inch of wall was covered in a painting of a beautiful map. Tiga walked slowly towards it. Cool, huh? Peggy said. Is this? Tiga began. Peggy nodded. All of Ritzy City and beyond. What is it? Tiga whispered. Peggy grinned. The land of Sinkville, of course. Tiga's eyes scanned the map from Ritzy City to some docks, to hundreds of long, spindly towers perched on a hilltop, all the way down to a tiny cluster of weird underwater buildings that were painted so close to the bottom of the wall she had to crouch down on the floor to see them. That bit, Peggy said, slapping an area of the map close to Ritzy City with her gloopy hand, is Brollywood, where they make all the TV shows and films and things. It's where all the famous witches live. And me, said Fran. I'm famous. I live there. And I work there too, on my excellent TV shows, including Witch Wars. Witch Wars is a TV show? Tiga asked. Fran raised a hand in the air. I'll explain all that when we get back upstairs, where we are meant to be, rather than down here, where we are not. Not what? Peggy asked. Meant to be, Fran said. Meant to be what? Peggy asked. Fran scrunched up her little face. Meant to be here. We're meant to be here? Peggy asked with a smile. Peggy! Fran shouted. Tiga noticed there seemed to be a lot more pipes painted in the sky in Brollywood than there were in Ritzy City. Fran followed her gaze. Everyone carries umbrellas in Brollywood, she said. It's quite wet there, what with all the pipes and... Oh! I smell something. The stench of more competitors. Tiga couldn't smell anything. She looked at Peggy, whose nose was scrunched up and sniffing too. But she just shrugged. Come on, Fran said, making a beeline for the sofa. Tiga glanced back at the map. She hadn't had nearly enough time to see all of Sinkville, and there was a lot of Sinkville to see. You can come back any time, Fran said with a smile. Apart from on Wednesdays. This room doesn't exist on Wednesdays. And that is the end of chapter 5, everybody. So, the next chapter is called The Witch Wars Witches. So I'm guessing we're going to meet the other witches who are going to be in the Witch Wars competition. So we'll be finding out what happens in chapter 6 on Monday. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.